Balaclava paka stenje, KG3, P3, jufala litokwa gatenje. Na rende, na dai kwa mokaka nonsense. Mandai moroto finances, na bai mogonda na asset. Ndo nitise kudamas kwa mashonet. Kaploti Obama na operate. Sain mesimama silipi rent, na venya nafanya ni different. Washa net, hotspot, na nyonya njwanga na masot rot. Washa get, joto, na chora sabaki mangoto. Tuna hotbox, more smoke, itabidi tufunga yo drop top. Fuck it, ukileta ufalio shingo na chop chop. Dai kunchota na kwekaga mchele na giri na pigaga kotko. Kapoko wa coach, usponi kanja na tuwaga zoko. Niko soko by force mi mdogo, sijapataga dibobo. Usiku sako kama dodge na bado utapata nipa madigolo. Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana. Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana. Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Yeah. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana. Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana.
Pull up na benzo, nasi KDD. Number plate MRIG, nikiwasha full light my LED. Yes of course na my enemy. What the F are you telling me? Strawberry na cherry please, life so soft on party me. Heat trap ni fire and cold, M-bright edge na Diana coat. Niko life of blings, na kaime ni bamba yo wire na cop. No tint I'm in a black out Benz, but be and like hop in a Benz. Anadai kiss fifth, na hii joint ni arrest. BBS au skin ndio rims imetoka car wash na nihon na hood. Na cruise na bima mejaza foreign marijuana. BBS au skin ndio rims imetoka car wash na nihon na hood. Na cruise na bima mejaza foreign marijuana.
Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana. Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana. Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Yeah. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana. Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana.
Tuko kwa bima tukiset marijuana. Backseat ni mababis kariana. Ama valodis kama kariana. Tuko hotbox kwa benzo ateze chikiana. Niko drop top scene nikiaja. Nime pull up na yela skin ya mara. Schedule na drop katara. Niko kwa band of the dose dio alarm. Yo ini bibos na Diana na tumestick to the code. Tuna ball tuna oni coat. Time is money to west the clock. Tunaziwasha renga tutowi lock. Hatupigi chok. Tunaziwasha renga tutowi lock. Hatupigi chok. Sinsima who got a kiss to my bima. Kama shora na deko ririma. Zazi meshika na deko ni Sinsima who got the kiss to my bima. Kama shora na deko ririma. Zazi meshika na deko ni
Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana. Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana. Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Yeah. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana. Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana. Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana. Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana. Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Yeah. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana. Pull up na benzo, of course take time. Nina bimi mejaza foreign marijuana.
$1 million every 6 months, and y'all hating my game, saying my name. They call me the wrong things, knowing I'm fly without wings. While some of y'all have to pull strings. In this era, I maintain the freak upon the beat. Master bass lines of Raphael Sadiq, lyrical mastermind, a genius. So don't snooze, no missions impossible. Ask Tom Cruise. I keep it lit when I have to spit a rough paragraph. Laugh when I'm busting your who want it. Come and see me like 112, and I rock that bell with Fox and L. E-Dub, yeah, Mr. Excitement, right? The Portuguese of rap, so come to the light. Yes, the recipient of this award goes to moi, the best qualified superstar. My squad stays on point like that. It's the joint.
Yeah, my squad stay on point like that.
It's the joint. I'm in your area. duplicate the manuscripts. That's impossible. Pray like a gospel, overcoming setbacks, jumping over obstacles. Like Evil Knievel, on point like a needle. PMDs like the Beatles, back with another sequel to hip-hop. Check 1, 2 and you don't stop. Rap with mainstream R&B and pop. Now the world shocked. D doubles back with Mike Dot. Like it or not, we about to turn it up another notch. Mock speed, put it down for my siege. Raw breed, acres with the D. Joint. My squad stays on point like that. It's the joint. Yeah, my squad stay on point like that. Yeah, it's the joint. GA, I'm in your area. GA, I'm in your area. Yeah, Chi-Town, I'm in your area. BMD is a world premiere. My style's diggable, so I'm fat like that. I got a Benz too, and it's black like that. I got maize and chips, and they stack like that. A 5-year spread, and now we back like that. How dandy, sitting in their room with brandy. Way pissed off, thinking how they can't stand me. We robbed Sean for his pen, talking, not looking, shookin', a dead man walking. You know me, from ripping flows with my homie, the one and only, genuine like Pony. You wanna ride? You call me up when you're lonely. I'm Paris Smith, great like Tony. I'm hitting, where from? From Brentwood to San Quentin. I'ma keep rhyming, still representing. For my up north and in the courts until the MCs taking no shorts in this blood sport. My squad stays on point like that. It's the joint. Yeah, my squad stay on point like that. Yeah, it's the joint. I'm in your area. Cali, I'm in your area. Philly, I'm in your area. BMD is a world premiere.
Greetings, this is Eric Onaina. Keep it locked here on Icon Radio, your #1 entertainment plug.
Okay. PLO jeshi keshaka kwa mara nyingine
ni kando ndani ya hii jango na ndio kama zikeshaka tena kando
fanye mambo
wa wasee wangu wa mtaa. Fanya mambo wa wasee, tuna hasona. Fanya mambo, hatuna wasiwasi, project bado hapa ni wakati. Fanya mambo wa wasee wangu wa mtaa. Fanya mambo wa wasee, tuna hasona. Fanya mambo, hatuna wasiwasi, project bado hapa ni wakati.
Kikaiza soze, mnitafute mnikose. Nairobi kipindi niongoze, nipate shilingi niyose, alafu nisote mpaka nikope. Filisika kikarumandika, pombe niombe. Ishi nyumba karatasi matope, na bando ndoto ni ote. Ishi kote, pata yote, shindwa na wote. Kufata ndoto na anza, bashairi vitabu na jaza. Baadaye shika kipaza, rebo kipanta. Wanashika tamu wanawaza, watu wakijikaza kwenye vitanda mlijilaza. Kwa sasa nijitole mhanga, kubeba mikuki, bunduki, mapanga. Kila sehemu kuweka nanga, manaume ana vision. Mziki na mission, sio competition. Lakini wakitaka tu compete, wagundue tuko fit, first position.
Yeah, waambie wanadhani ni mchezo. Manze imefika position ya kushika mtu mashati. Mzee hakuna kucheza, ni mambo na kufanya mambo tu hivyo tu.
Fanya mambo wa wasee wangu wa mtaa. Fanya mambo wa wasee, tuna hasona. Fanya mambo, hatuna wasiwasi, project bado hapa ni wakati. Fanya mambo wa wasee wangu wa mtaa. Fanya mambo wa wasee, tuna hasona. Fanya mambo, hatuna wasiwasi, project bado hapa ni wakati. Uko tayari? Aha. Uko tayari? Aha. Okay, na tiara ondi na akili imekufa ganzi. Njani, mbaya bila do ukiwa mbali sana na jivanji. Gardens, nikikufia kwenye hii kazi. Tafadhali mama yangu mtampatija hii ganji. Usiweke jina kwenye flyer ama poster kama unikanji. We ngoja, ili usije ukaharibu the program. Tafadhali soma dibaji ya vipindi unafikiri aji. Kuleta kasi ya vitimbi kwenye matanga. Haha, maisha yenyewe ni changa. Changa panga vile utakanga alafu manga. Tafadhali ficha panga, mafikira zikianza joku tanga. Fanya mambo wa wasee wangu wa mtaa. Fanya mambo wa wasee, tuna hasona. Fanya mambo, hatuna wasiwasi, project bado hapa ni wakati. Fanya mambo wa wasee wangu wa mtaa. Fanya mambo wa wasee, tuna hasona. Fanya mambo, hatuna wasiwasi, project bado hapa ni wakati.
Ayo nyakati ndio hizi, zile mizizi zilipanwa na mababu zetu ndio hizi zimemea. Naendelea kufanya hii mziki, kukanya MCs, kusakanya hii riziki. Hamjamboni nyote, jina langu si King'ori lakini naipenda shilingi, na wala si Onyango lakini naipenda samaki. Napenda kushika mic na kuongea kuhusu haki, napenda mishikaki, penda na jaki, haki na taki ya kuacha jina kwa vitabu za historia mpaka Argentina. Utaisikia siesikia tunamvunja mguu, njia nyingi za kupoteza njia, ulipoteza ukijaribu kuongea sana. Kuongea mbaya kunihusu, hivyo ndio Judas alimbusu Jesus Christ. Hata nikunywe Sprite, ile tasko ndani yangu ni kubwa sana. Nimechoka sana kukaa na kutazama na kitazama.
Wawasee wangu wa mtaa, fanya mambo. Wawasee tuna hustle na fanya mambo. Hatuna wasiwasi, project bado hapa ni wakati. Fanya mambo. Wawasee wangu wa mtaa, fanya mambo. Wawasee tuna hustle na fanya mambo. Hatuna wasiwasi, project bado hapa ni wakati.
Umetoka kusikia mambo ndio hayo, hivyo ndio kuko, na kama ujui ni wakati
usistuke. Niko nakaa siko, labda nilifanya Steve Biko,
na msio na wasiwasi. Kama una wasiwasi kidole cha kati,
ni wakati.
Yeah. We are back. Yeah, we're back on Icon Radio with the Vault. Yes, representing hip-hop all the way, hip-hop from Kenya to the world. Oh, my God, like, I'm listening to that joint, Fanya Mambo. Hey, it's been a minute since I've heard that record. You know, when it first came out, the first place I saw it was on Channel O. Now, I know these young school kids don't know who Channel O is or what Channel O is about, but that's where we would find all the hot videos that we wanted to see around the world and from Africa, especially from Africa. So I remember when Fanya Mambo came out, I remember I had this black and white look, and you're watching the video, you're just like, okay, Keishaka representing, yeah? And that line for Roba Otero, yeah? Mi si King'ori lakini napenda shilingi. Eh? Well, you know what? It's all good that we're representing the old school hip hop here. I mean, one of the other records we played Kamula, Feel No Pain. And we also played some new school artists, Diana Cards and Brooklyn Boys, Foreign. I remember when Kamula came out, I think they shook Kenya a bit. Because first of all, they were not your average hip-hoppers that came out. First of all, that time around the world, everyone had moved from the straight-up boom-bap beats to like EDM. Everyone was doing EDM around the world. Like, you guys like Flo Rida, Timberland was on EDM. So when they came up with this, they're like, okay, guys are like, okay, this is different. Will this really work out? But it did work out. You know, it did work out well for them. Where are they right now? Well, that's something we're going to talk about later on. Maybe not today, but we'll talk about later on where they are and how they're representing, you know? And so at the end of the day, artists, what makes an artist? What makes an artist great? How do you get there? Because right now we've been asking one question. What has happened to hip-hop in Kenya? Where is hip-hop going? Is it here to stay? What has happened? You know, there's been a dip of hip-hop, and it's not just a Kenyan thing, but it's a worldwide thing. For example, the other year we celebrated 50 years of hip-hop. And because we were celebrating it, there was a big show that was down at Allianz, you know, where artists were performing. So we had guys like, South Kamati come through, new school artists. We had some of the old school heads who came through. Nazizi came around. Doobies was there. Different artists, basically all in hip-hop, you know. And that time, the main show, guys who were supposed to be the main showcase was Ukoflani Mau Mau. Now, people had not seen Ukoflani Mau Mau together for a long time. I remember guys like Zaka were there, you know. Jirongi was also there. Kitusua was also there. There are a lot of good artists that were over there, you know, and they're supposed to perform that day, you know. And it was a good time to bring people together. So hip-hop heads came throughout from all over. the place was packed out like never before. It takes me back to the old school days of Kenyan hip hop, where a lot of the shows were around town and they're always packed out. There was always some talent show around town, and you see the latest guys coming trying to drop their record. So it was kind of like that vibe. There was an open mic where guys performed and showed their skills, and of course the crowd rated and said, "Hey, how are they going to do this cipher? How are they going to perform? Are they going to be great at what they do?" So it was a good time just to involve other artists and see what they were doing. But now, guess what? You know, we are waiting for Koflani. We knew, hey, these guys will perform like for about an hour. What happened? They performed like 10 minutes. 10 minutes, and they were off, you know, but we've got to give props to them because Koflani came in an era where what they were talking about was their struggles, their life, where they're coming from. And they were on a project also called Kilio Chahaki, which became a big project. And I remember when I first got the CD. Yes. Well, let me say it again. CD. Those days, there was nothing like you're putting music on flash disc the way you're putting up right now. It was all on CD. So I remember someone who was in my life. When I say someone, I spell that someone, S-U-M, and then one, you know. So I was in London at that time, and I was producing over there. So I had other Kenyan artists that were on a mixed CD that I produced. I mean, Kentai was on it, Bamboo was on it. You know, there were several different rappers who were on it. Ugo Flani, of course, were on it. And so the person who introduced me to Uko said, hey, like, I played for them your beats. Because that time I was studying music production. They're like, I played for them your beats. They love what you're doing. They want to talk with you. So that was my introduction to Uko Flani. And that's how I ended up on the all-time great CD, Dandora Burning. If you haven't checked out for Dandora Burning, it's still out there. Go check out for it and see what they're about. But I remember around that time when they had done the project, I came back after they had done the project. There was this big beef that was going on about how that project came out. So there was this lady who apparently was one of the promoters and collaborators on that project called Ninka, you know? And she is actually quoted by saying that she didn't enjoy her time working with Uko Flani Mau Mau. She said they would come drunk, sniffing glue and smoking. She says they even made advances at me. They called me a white supremacist and other bad names. One of the Keshaka guys physically assaulted me. Now, I've heard both sides of the story. You know, I'm here at Icon Radio on the Vault to give you the story. So, as they say, let me give you the tea. I've heard both sides. On the side of, let me say, not because Uko Flani were really not, from what I hear, they were not part of that project. It was Mau Mau were part of that project. So Mau Mau actually said that they feel that she used them to benefit herself. You know, what she agreed to do for them never happened. Now, to be honest, when I hear her say that they sniffed glue, like, come on. I've been around these guys. I've never seen even one of them sniff glue. If they did, yo, that's a new statement to be made, you know? But I'll tell you this. There's two sides to every story. There's her side, there's their side, and then there's the real story. So for out of that, you know, you got to go back and check about what they did. But I don't want to focus so much based on the negative. What I want to do is focus on the positives. How did they change the music industry in Kenya? First of all, I know when you first meet them for the first time, like, if you met, like, they claim that they're like 40 strong rappers who would all show up in a place, you know. First of all, people need to understand, Uko Flani is Mombasa. Mau Mau is Nairobi, you know. So they come together, it's Uko Flani, Mau Mau, you know. And to be honest, when I first heard their record, I knew instantly, you know, when you hear a record, even from a production point of view, they say it takes you 20 seconds before you realize whether you like a record or not. It didn't even take me 20 seconds, more like 10 seconds. I knew, nah, these guys are awesome at what they do. So, of course, for me, it was no doubt I wanted to be with them on records. And I was also introduced to them by a good friend of mine who was a producer at that time, working with them. That's Ambrose Akwabi, we call him DG. So Ambrose, who formed Mandugu Digital, with his brother Shaki. Both awesome producers, brought a lot of club bangers, head bangers to the industry at that time. And so Ambrose told me, yo, these guys, just check them out. I know you like what they do. And so at the end of the day, people ask all the time, these guys were so great because they're a crew. They were so great at what they did. What happened to them? Some of them, to be honest, are no longer even in Kenya. Like a percentage of them are not around. Some of them are. But they screamed out and left. It's very hard. It's very hard to remain in crews. Why is it so hard? It's because sometimes you just want to do your own thing by yourself. You want to move along and just put out your own music. You can't always do this thing of a crew. I remember one time I was speaking to Jirongi, who was part of, who still is, and was part of Uko Flani Mao Mao. And he was telling me, just because you're a crew doesn't mean you have to do everything together. You're not stuck together like glue. He says, by hiyo ni mentality ya ghetto. That's what he kept on telling me, and you can't always do things as a crew. I was part of a crew that was there way back in the days. It was known as the rap community, and some of the biggest guys who took over the industry came from that crew, so I know what it means to be part of a crew. But when I look at Uko Flani Mau Mau and I look at some of the new guys who are coming up, we have new artists who are coming up that will play their music on Icon Radio, get to know about them. People like Shazzy B, who's dropping gems out there. People like Nemar who are dropping. People like Arumba, known as Vava, who's dropping her stuff also. There's a lot of new artists coming up. So you got to ask yourself, what made those artists that were there back in the days remember till now? And new artists who are coming up, it's like 2 minutes and their star gets shut down. I think whether you were there back in the days of the early hip-hop in Kenya or you're there now, one thing that you have to do, first of all, is be consistent. And you've got to realize everyone has a different speed at making music. No one makes music the same way. So I always tell artists that I work with, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. If you ever watch a marathon, people run at different levels. No one runs at the same level. And so you've got to figure out what you want. I think social media played a big part on how artists do their music right now, on a positive side and a negative side. You see, back in Kenya, the time we came up, there was no social media. I mean, I think Yahoo, the first time I was hearing about Yahoo was around really 99, 2000, So a lot of guys, the only way they could actually promote their music if they went to the streets, if they went for events. And so guys would go hard for these events. Nowadays, with the new school artists, I feel like they're talented, but sometimes they don't have that desire to press on, And you don't have the desire to press on because you say, you know what? I have social media on my side. I have 10 million views. All I have to do is go to my bedroom and record myself performing, and that's it. But then the crowd is out there saying, are you really verified as an artist? Now, people like Kalamashaka, people like Ukuflani Mau Mau, they had to represent all the time. They had to go out there and prove to people. They had to battle and show people. Interesting enough, I was actually passed by the studio when they say one of the greatest records of all time in Kenya hip-hop was recorded. And that's Tafsirihi by Kalamashaka at Ted Josiah's studio. I know Ted Josiah because I had met him years before. He was my producer when I was like, I think 15 years old. He used to produce me at a small studio he had set up. And so I have an understanding of how we worked and what he saw. But when Tafsiri came out, you have to understand, Kenya was transitioning from English rap to Swahili rap. It was a totally different field at that time. And so when they came out with that, people felt like they connected with them because it's a language you can understand. A lot of people felt like this is exactly what I am going through right now. And I remember the first time we were at a show, my group, and they performed. And I remember that was at KU, Kenyatta University, and they tore the house down. They tore it down, and people were like, this is something fresh, this is something new. So by the time we hear about Uko Flani Mau Mau, I feel like Uko Flani Mau Mau came up on another level. You know, they had tracks like Dandora Love, you know, they just, everyone could understand and everything. But the thing is, here on Icon Radio, we don't just want to focus on the old Kenya. We want to focus on the new Kenya. And my question was, is hip hop dead? I want to hear your views out there and see what you guys feel. Is hip hop rising or is it falling? A lot of times when we look at hip hop right now, it's more about the views that you get online, and it's more about how can you connect with your fans online. Not a lot of these artists perform. So the thing is hip hop dying? And before we go for the break, I want to let you know one thing. I was talking about 50 years of hip hop at Allianz. There's some guys who are putting together a documentary. And I think it's good because none of these artists in Kenya have any documentation of any documentaries really that's been done about them or the Kenyan hip hop in general. If you go, for example, to the States or you go to other places, even the UK, they've documented about their music scene and everything. But in Kenya, we don't have that. So some guys are doing this documentary. There's a lady that I was with, and at some time we're going to showcase her music. And she was working with Giuliani before that. Her name was Ankada. And she told me, hey, this guy's doing this documentary. Maybe you'd like to jump on it. And so they asked me one question: what do I feel about hip hop? And I made one comment. I said, Kenya doesn't have necessarily hip hop music. We have a hip hop culture. When you look at, there's a difference between the culture and the music. When you look at the way people dress, the way they talk, the way they interact, you can see the hip hop culture coming into the forefront. You know, because the hip hop culture is actually, rap music is one of the last things in the culture. You know, there were the b-boys, there were the graffiti artists. You know, there's R&B artists, there's promoters, and managers. So when we look at the music, it's like hip hop music is dead, has died in Kenya. You know, not enough. Not trying to put these people down. We have rappers, but why isn't growing to the extremes that it needs to grow to? But we have a strong hip hop culture. And if you're at Allianz and you went there and you're celebrating that time, you would see how strong the culture is. So what I feel right now as we take the break, we need to think of a way to elevate the music scene in Kenya, because we are in East Africa. We are like the originators, but we have come and people have surpassed us to a point that you hear other genres more on radio than even hip-hop music. So at Icon, we're practically promoting hip-hop over here on the Vault because we want these new artists to be represented. We want the old school artists that have been forgotten about to get their flowers. So as we take a break, think about that as we play more music.
Halisi kwenye streets mitaani machizi huko flatmate kwenye kaya za mabaa vile inafaa ipo upendo hip-hop halisi kwenye streets mitaani machizi huko flatmate kwenye kaya za mabaa vile inafaa.
Tafadhali expect first lady kwa beat kama hii ikipump kama streets ana Robbery Town tukirepresent washi na wazi wanaojiunga na mi juu hii sound ya uko flani na mi N-A-Z-A-Z toka Mau wapate uhuru saa tuko free kurock my crowd so wanacheza na si hawawezi kata, instead wana agree that we the illest kwa hii crowd ya wasanii. That's why tunachakuliwa na matuni wazimasa bina isilina.
Mina toka kwa mtaa, mina toka far kini cheki jicho dam na nukio dam mimbia ever rise never fall Jaja hasi Dolly chica but now I'm stronger get a superstar kebu msela nipedonga Ito waibika sweets in the bunga machize kauna ni feel sing along Ife upendo hip-hop halisi kwenye streets mitaani machize huko flatmate kwenye kaya za mabaa vile inafaa. Ife upendo hip-hop halisi kwenye streets mitaani machize huko flatmate kwenye kaya za mabaa vile inafaa. Bado ni bado
Mkenywa naibuka na kizazi kipya. Cheki mziki huno wa kisasa. Homegrown Mombasa Rasta nimezaliwa kwa chemba za hip hop. Keto barisheba Montego ndio leba. Negundua hip hop nasumbua sana kwa hip hop. The first founder member woko flani. Fujo makelele nacheza na track test na flow. Napiga hip hop popote nipo. Nyoko 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 nyoko.
Niki rap hip hop, muna clap chop 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 chop. Niki rap hip hop, muna clap. Fanya kazi ndani ya mchezo, kupanga lugha Kiswahili kielelezo, mwaga vina. Hii ni kazi si mchezo na si uongo. Garuza cha ganya ngoma kwanza geuza track sema nianze tema Kaya hip hop kwangu ni kipaji. Kama kurap na rap na washikaji. Nacheza hip hop, nakula hip hop, navaa hip hop, nalala hip hop. Hardcore naipenda, hardcore naiganda.
Ipendo hip-hop halisi kwenye Swiss mitaani machize uko flatmate kwenye kaya za mabao vile inafaa. Ipendo hip-hop halisi kwenye Swiss mitaani machize uko flatmate kwenye kaya za mabao vile inafaa.
It's the UK double representing with campaigns on the music industry. It's the UK double X to NSNIC representing with campaigns on the music industry.
Your number one entertainment plug, Icon Radio.
One of them bounce tracks. Professor Jizz on this one. You know what we do. Monaco Digital. 41 Records.
Kindergarten mpaka chuo kikuu. Downtown kwa machiz na masista tu mikono juu. Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Magharibi mpaka nyanda za juu. Kanda ya ziwa kaskazini mpaka east is I'm coming through. Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo kat chembe kidevu. Lazima ukae na chana zede wembe kama mwerevu usishangae. Misi kiongozi na piganio kombozi na kaba kooni zede jinamizi kwenye njozi. Nasaka haki sio kilio cha samaki. Machozi kwenda na majiki kipaji sio bahati. Akili yangu sio uwanja majaribio. Neno langu linaongeza faraja kwenye video. Nafikiri nifike, sisemi tu nisikike. Jasho langu linafanya malengo niyafanikishe. Niko tayari kwa heri ama kwa shari. Jino kwa jino kumwaga mboga na mwaga ugali. Maisha yenye kamari hatari ndani ya safari. Kichwani vina kama mchanga wa bahari. Huu ni mwimiri wangapi mnawabashiri na kuwavisha mataji kwa vina vya tafsiri. Kindergarten mpaka chuo kikuu. Downtown kwa machiz na masista tu mikono juu. Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Magharibi mpaka nyanda za juu. Kanda ya ziwa kaskazini mpaka east is I'm coming through. Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Ili nifanikiwe nahitaji marafiki, ili nifanikiwe zaidi nahitaji maadui. Mkononi sina tattoo bali na alama ya ndui. Mtanzania namba moja majungu hajasumbui. Mchaka nakimbiza kilo pande. Simtumiki kafiri ili chat yangu ipande. Dead off my shoulder, ngome inavuka boda. Muda unazungumza, wamia hapati moja. Podi kwa podi hapa beat mebaki story. Kama zama za mtikira na seda za gabachori. Naishi biashara daima sogopya sara. Na mara kwa mara hibu sada wepusha madhara. Napoza nile kama na hisi cha moto. Napokea matatizo yangu kama changamoto. Nipo ili nife na nena bila kifisho. Naitunza heshima yangu zaidi ya mboni ya jicho. Kindergarten mpaka chuo kikuu. Downtown kwa machiz na masista tu mikono juu. Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Magharibi mpaka nyanda za juu. Kanda ya ziwa kaskazini mpaka east is I'm coming through. Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Wewe bora mwanamuziki, mimi mwanamuziki bora. Chati zetu hazifanani kama mafua na Ebola. Mwenye hekima huona haja na kujificha, bali mpumbavu kwenda mbele na kuvimba kichwa. Nani anavisha simama kuthibitisha. Nite mwanaharakati hip hop naiwakilisha. Fanya ufanyavyo akili yangu haiko feki. Unataka kuwa J copy kama double X. Sui mende kwa nyundo maana nitaumia mimi. Na ndio maana na wadharau mnaotaka beef na mimi. Hometown kitambo utanieleza nini? Wakati huo wengi wenu hata hamjakuja mjini. kaskazini, kindergarten mpaka chuo kikuu. Downtown kwa machiz na masista tu mikono juu. Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Magharibi mpaka nyanda za juu, kanda ya ziwa, kaskazini mpaka east is I'm coming through. Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Kindergarten mpaka chuo kikuu. Downtown kwa machiz na masista tu mikono juu. Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Magharibi mpaka nyanda za juu, kanda ya ziwa, kaskazini mpaka east is I'm coming through. Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi? Hapo vipi?
Jump out na kimbegega, choma rupu ndani ya impreza. Look fisa na mpesa, mchote na soup to impressa.
Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals. Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals.
Jump out na kimbegega, choma rupu ndani ya impreza. Look fisa na mpesa, mchote na soup to impressa.
Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals. Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals. Umesikia news, cinema romantic rivals. Ikibidi tunabuy views, manzei must go viral. Ni for real na unaweza prove. Nazo nini ma plastic maimbo, one woman misinanga crew. Kwa skat nimesunda automatic rifle. I've been taking my time with this one. You've been talking and I've been listening. You've been shopping and I've been flexing. You've been plotting on me man wiswa. Please ama stress na mambichwa, kuzoza ni must imandikwa. Usibonge unaweza lishwa, skade checking ahangarisha.
Same clothes but different moves, same hoes in different crews. I can't smile and be free, the man I throw a gang sign when I see my goons. I just call up bafun. The hope say that I pulled up too soon. Wanajua tukikuja ni matutu, tunaingiza zogo hata ngori haituhusu. Yo, as long as I get my door, I really don't care if we get along. Hashtag easy, no pressure mob. Hashtag free the oppression. Yo, I didn't forgive him, it's just that me, I forget a lot. Faxi city, you fuck with me, you might get shot. Boom.
Jump out na kimbegega, choma rupu ndani ya impreza. Look fisa na mpesa, mchote na soup to impressa.
Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals. Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals.
Jump out na kimbegega, choma rupu ndani ya impreza. Look fisa na mpesa, mchote na soup to impressa.
Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals. Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals.
Sleeping pill, sipping slimming tea. Ukiguza slim ni tati. Deep is the street, mimi niko mamristi. Nguneo slip, she's dressed on flick. I'm looking like I'm simping. I'm looking like a sinking ship. Liri. I'm looking slick. Mam alipata chini ya pilo kipistol na siko Detroit Pistons. Ulijuaje kudinya hivyo? On other people's daughters. Doshman Wuzu. New Harry Potter. Mnabonga, alo, hapo
Madiva yaogopi kupiga. Kasi bima yonda istashika. Manson alika, niko mamzinga. Plus naririma, sioni nkifika. Bega kwa bega, ndo tumedrop kwa finya kindenga. Ikilia kutahepa, tunaidrop kutigidha mamblena. Ni sisi, scavenger kwa maesto zenu. Manzejo na ikibidi, kasna form, tanpata kwenu, yo. Hai kuliko yu epitawa, squeezy naitoga Mr. Mawada. Miura bigi paka na power, blanda dakashara na mwaga.
Jump out na kimbegega, choma rupu ndani ya impreza. Look fisa na mpesa, mchote na soup to impressa.
Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals. Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals.
Jump out na kimbegega, choma rupu ndani ya impreza. Look fisa na mpesa, mchote na soup to impressa.
Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals. Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals.
Jump out na kimbegega, choma rupu ndani ya impreza. Look fisa na mpesa, mchote na soup to impressa.
Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals. Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals.
Jump out na kimbegega, choma rupu ndani ya impreza. Look fisa na mpesa, mchote na soup to impressa.
Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals. Fez wanaipenda na mimi naipenda, cinema romantic rivals.
Kwa mtaa yenu kaa Yesu au GSU watengeta taka kawa kopechu eri wa hangnangos na ndechu ashasambuka zimasigaa kwani unataka kutunguza kayule vaiti aliban kwa duka sorry vaite sando nimekumbuka stambui rituals ati mababu ameitisha so and so ameingia kwa bana miwa suna asa enter the club amiari ruchi screaming siwa ni changana ni triple distilled ha nikaa koka waezi lala bila society hadi inalalamika lawyer wetu kuna kesi ameshinda na mafisi wanajua mekaivisha ati ntoe lock ngoa mlango kabisa lebo za caps kwa tifeki kibao mpaka makota za mbao na wengine ambao siezi taja majina wako maduya situ kwa Kitale Mapuya original wazee wa kijiji tukidiscuss tamaduni nje ya city ni secondary needs wake nikauko primary please milk kunywa East Africa breweries for my warning I have to drink responsibly kautaki my accidents suicides na pia my STDs na mapitu na magun parts za G3 na mapi3 is on PE katapingu na still behind bars kwa mawingu ukishuka na parachute after kuflash kaida movie ya Deadpool bila kujua ni kwa waya ya stima ndio utaland Napoleon ni kama aliwa Bonaparte juu ya meza usione vile mafisi za mwaga mate silikushow dynasty itadai vinasti monarchy na monju destiny ni fupi ka destiny juu ya vile ama big fish wako kwa small pond na ni wa stingy kata mbele na nyuma ulimi kama msumeno makali mana na makali urefu wa makucha na makali ya meno makali mana na makali kata mbele na nyuma ulimi kama msumeno makali mana na makali urefu wa makucha na makali ya meno makali mana na makali dole mbili kwenye kondio nitapike lakini hakuna kitu inatoka na jaribu joy zishuke lakini hazishuki nikisema lean singugi nikisema need sisuti arifu yangu ametupeleka 034 kwa ndege saa tuko kwenye loko ndio manjege wanadai 50 cents na zita hivyo jua mola about the dollar na si shillings na waita witch doctor juao uzanga spirits wananishozi hii holy water kumbuki kitusua wendo the wizard kweli na drown by deep sifikiri imagination zangu zinapepea kavepa Aladdin nini but ya global population reduction nini malabras my illicits wanadai test on a reaction wacha hizo conspiracy mpira bila player tutakuaje na rehab bila masuperstar chana na mgema kupewa sifa au customer kona giza ngoma ya mlevi only mwenda wazimu ndio yeye usikiza only mwenda wazimu ndio yeye usikiza
rough riders don't get it twisted y'all rough riders I'm talking about right twisted y'all recognize rough riders don't get it twisted y'all recognize rough riders yo don't get it twisted y'all
now I know y'all couldn't wait to hear Kiss over premiere kill you on tape then watch it over a beer you ain't nothing but a movie with expensive footage that's the reason they gon' leave you with expensive bullets ain't none of y'all better than locks have all of y'all dressed up in a suit dead in a box me and my niggas get redder than Fox and I don't care if I love you I still want head in the drop niggas running around talking that Y2K ish crackheads is still gon' want that grit ish that's why I'ma always cop the yay quick so I suggest all of y'all stay off J too hard for MTV not black enough for BET just let me be give me all my royalty money and let me read and I'ma have O's for 6 and half for 3
rough riders don't get it twisted y'all rough riders to the O to the XX rough riders don't get it twisted y'all rough riders don't get it twisted
hey yo I give it to you point blank in your mom's place so like Point Break with a mask on with the president's face clear my space when Big She crashed the boards y'all ain't just mark niggas y'all hallmark niggas with all that soft ass writing might as well be in cards you don't gamble with your life when I launch these torpedoes that'll shoot the crap out your ass at Foxwood casinos just me and my Gambinos drunk as fuck winter time parking lot DVD in the truck I've been drunk most of my life don't ask me why through 9th grade I ain't go to high school I went to school high and I don't care what y'all got that this shit don't excite me I'm black and deadly and my burner
one of y'all on tour at the Sheridan. See what's yours can be mine without inheriting. Give up your chains and them little diamonds in your ear. Is it worth your family crying and the doctor yelling clear? Huh?
Don't get it twisted, y'all.
Recognize.
Rough Riders.
L to the O to the X. Recognize.
Rough Riders. Don't get it twisted, y'all.
Recognize.
Rough Riders.
Mellow X
Don't
niggas.
get it twisted, y'all.
If I knew heaven had a ghetto that was sweeter than here, you know the Pia pack a bag and just leave next year. But I got a son to raise, so I'ma stay in this hell. And I got a gun to blaze if you play with the L. Dot O, dot X, dot at the end. We the niggas that's gon' leave with the pot at the end. Never too young to die or too old to live. Ain't it hard to bust your gun, go home and mold your kid? I'ma shame myself crack, but I'ma ride for the moment. Know the consequence, I'ma die with the omen. Two is better than one, it's three of the lots. Key in the pot, key in the drop, key to the top. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost to rap. 3 in the 1, seeing the gun and using the dog. Dope in the 6, coke in the 5, weed in the 4. The ice is for my niggas, but the heat is for y'all.
Recognize.
Rough Riders. Don't get it twisted, y'all.
Recognize.
Rough Riders.
L to the O to the X. Recognize.
Rough Riders. Don't get it twisted, y'all.
Recognize.
Rough Riders.
Mellow X niggas.
Don't get it twisted, y'all.
Ayo, Chino.
Oh yeah, once again we're back. This is the Vault with the Beatmaker, not the Beat Taker. 10 fingers in the air, that's how we're representing. If you don't know, you better ask your mom or ask a kinyi with a good hair. Kauna nywele, well, we'll discuss that later. Yeah. So, once again, we're listening to hip-hop. We're representing African hip-hop. A touch of hip-hop Yamaju, but we're representing Kenyan hip-hop, African hip-hop to the world. I feel that we really got to promote our own. One thing that's happening right now, if we look at hip-hop and music in general in Kenya, we're spending too much time promoting others, and we're not promoting ourselves. It's like you always want to go eat in someone else's kitchen, but you have the spoons and the forks, you have all the ingredients in your kitchen, but you're like, washing in kule kwa? This other person's jikoni yake inakaa poa. You know? And so there was a time in Kenya where Tanzanians were recording in Kenya. Congolese always used to come over here to do their things, you know. We had Ugandans who were coming over to do their things. You know, we got guys from Burundi were coming over. But right now, the way the game has changed, it's like we become the most irrelevant. At one time, there was a Nigerian artist, can't remember his name, but he came to Kenya. And he was asked, like, so who like, do you play Kenyan music in Nigeria? He claimed that the only artist that he really knew about was either Sauti Sol or Calligraph. And he made a comment. He said, if you guys are not playing your own music, why should we play it? Let me say that again. If you're not playing your own music, why should we play? That's a very good question. You know, we can say, oh, these guys are arrogant or what, but the point is, at the end of the day, we need to represent, before we start representing other parts of Africa, we've got to represent our own music. So today it was good hearing some of the artists from the past, like Professor J, Haposawa. You know, that was a big tune when it came out. It just had this dance groove. You just feel like, yo, let me break myself some off of this, you know. There was, of course, Wangeshi also and Wakadinali. romantic rivals. You know, Wangeshi's been an artist who's been there for a minute now, like for some years, and her collaborating with guys like Wakadinali. Artists do that all the time. It gives the guys who were there back in the days, as I said, some street cred, you know. So it's good to see, and I'm a big advocate of female rappers, female artists putting their music out, performing their music, recording their music, doing everything that they can, because let's be honest, in this industry, a lot of women are brought down. You know, they give up on music. We've talked about this several times on The Vault. They give up on music because they feel like they've been defeated to put out that music because how they're treated a lot of times in the studio, how they're treated on shows, they're treated like sex objects. Yes, I know there's this big argument of my body, my choice, that's going on, you know, and that's not a debate I'm going to get into today. But, you know, a lot of them feel, and I personally feel there's a lot of great female artists out there. Some of them are even more talented than the male artists, but it's a shame that we don't really hear about much about them because they're not given that platform to put their music on, or if they are given the music, then a platform, then they feel like they've got to do something in return for that, you know. Then of course we have one of the great rappers of Kenya that we played his music, Kitu Sua, Makali, you know. I feel Kitu Sua is just like he's a great poet. He has a lot of great lyrics. Actually, he's revered a lot in the hip hop community. You know, a lot of people feel like, yo, if Kitu Sua got on your record, then you definitely, it's going somewhere, you know. Then last track that we played was the Locks, Recognize. You know, when you listen to the Locks, man, you just get this vibe of like, yo, you start like, you know how hip hop was back in the days when you heard hip hop, you just start bobbing your head. You had this look in your face, like, you know, people always ask, why do hip hop guys always have that look in their face, like they're angry? You start to tell them, yeah, I'm feeling that record. They don't understand, like, how crazy. You just get this feeling. You know, it's different with like other music forms. You just like want to dance and everything, you know. But with hip hop, you just are not the what they call the golden era of hip hop, what they call the boom bap, you know. Yeah, you just be nodding your head up and down. You can be 10 guys in a room and you're not even saying anything. You're just like, yeah. You're just bopping your head because you're really feeling the joint, you know? And I feel that's what makes hip hop great. You know, a lot of times people don't understand the history of how hip hop. Okay, there's two arguments about hip hop and how it came together. If you go to the people in America, they say hip hop started in the Bronx. They say, hey, you know, there's all this discussion of the boroughs in America, like who's the real hip hop heads, you know. So yeah, you may be from New York, but you're from one other side and someone else from another side. You know, for example, if you look at Wu-Tang Clan, they're like linked to New York, but they're from Staten Island. You know, so they're like, you have to cross a ferry to get to New York. So they were always put down because it's like, what are you guys talking about? You don't do hip hop. You can't tell us nothing about hip hop. Because they said if you're not from the Bronx, you're not saying anything. But I checked out this documentary about hip hop, and interesting enough, you'll never believe like why hip hop became how it is. And back in the days, if you look in the 70s, the big music was disco music. Now, I know some young school guys may not know what disco music is. It was very dance music. And they used to wear these suits, shiny shoes, you know, pointed shoes. And whenever they dance, they used to be like, yeah, that was disco music, you know? And you'd have the big hair, you know, and they go to these clubs. But a lot of the guys who were on the streets, like in New York, they're like, you know, we ain't feeling that music at all. What the heck is disco? So, but they used to like the way they used to just let loose and dance. So they knew, because they would never be allowed to get in those clubs. What did they do? They take the same form of dancing and took it to the streets, and they would dress the way they want to dress. They would dance the way they want to dance. And there was a part in the track when the DJ used to play the records. There's a part in the track that had no singing on it, and in that part of singing, it was known as the break beat. Hence, there's guys who just come and hit the floor at that point, and they got the name break dancers. You know, that's how it all came together. So the b-boys were there even before the rappers. The rap came later on. But if we fast forward, because that was a long time ago, if we fast forward and come to back to Kenya, back to reality, and we ask ourselves, why is not Kenyan music moving the way it needs to move? You know, why isn't it happening? I went on a list and checked out what are the good rappers over history in Kenya. So when you go on Google, because funny enough, we don't have a lot of information even online about Kenyan artists. So they gave an example of some artists and it's listed as Kenyan hip-hop artists. Now, let me warn you, I'm putting out a disclaimer right now. Don't blame me. I'm not the one who said this. It's on the net. So you can go and check for yourself. So it says, it breaks down how many listeners each artist has. So they say Prezo. For those of you know Prezo Jackson, they say he had 23 listeners. Okay, I don't know how true that is, but that's what they're saying. And then there's Mr. Googs and Vinnie Banton, who were also great in a period. But Googs was more like the rapper. Well, now me, I've always known Googs as Mofa or Mofat, you know, because I produced him back in the days when he was starting up, when he was in a different group and Vinny was in a different group and they came together. So Vinny, my boy, still always been dancehall, you know, that's his thing. Then there's Swahili Nation. Then in hip-hop, Eric is claimed as hip-hop. I've known Eric for years, you know. I've known him since I was a young youth in high school. But I don't think I've ever classified him as hip-hop, you know. Then there was Issa. A lot of people talk about Issa. Issa is a big debate in music, especially in hip-hop music, in Kenyan music. First of all, I worked with Issa before he went to Ogopa DJ. So I did the original Joe. And I was trying to explain to people the other day, like, where that thing Joe came from. Now, a lot of people don't understand where the song Joe came from. And let me explain to you today. There was an artist who was linked to Bad Boy Records, Diddy's record label. When Diddy, at least, was a bit better, not what he is right now. And there was an artist called Black Rob. Black Rob had a song called It's Like Whoa. If you go check it out on YouTube, you see the video. It's like whoa. So I was with Issa in the studio with his crew, Pirates, along with Big Pin and others, and he was like, yo, I wanna work on this song called It's Like Whoa. So what did he do? He played for me that track of Black Robe, which I'd already heard from before because it was all over TV, all over every place at that time. And so when you hear Kuna Kijana Toka South Sea, Joe, he just turned it to like whoa, you know? And I remember when he went to Ogopa, some guys felt like, okay, in Kenya right now, when you mention hip hop, he's classified as one of them. Yes, he was doing hip hop, but I felt that at that time we were working together. If I'm being honest, because I'm here on the vault, I'm one person, anyone who knows me, I don't sugarcoat stuff. I didn't think he was the greatest rapper. There are other guys in Kenya that were dropping gems at that time, but Issa had that thing where people liked him. And that's another thing. In music, you may not be the greatest, like, lyricist. You may not be, it's just like, but people may like you and they buy into your music because of that. But over time, I feel what he did was he proved people wrong. He made them like him. He had this character that he just had these hooks that made you remember him. Plus, not to be a hater, he was a light-skinned brother. So women out there will go crazy when they see him, you know. So Issa he's one of the people that people keep on mentioning. It's a sad shame that his life ended early. I always ask myself, where would people be right now? There's a huge argument in hip hop music that people became great because their lives ended early. When you look at the likes of Biggie, people said if Biggie was alive right now, where would he be? If Tupac was alive, where would he be? You know, they say someone becomes a legend because they're doing music and it's good, but they leave the earth early. That's a huge debate. We can't get into all of that. The other artist from Kenya that's being represented that they say is classified as Kenyan hip hop, have been there for a long time and stamped their name in Kenyan hip hop, was Gidi Gidi Maji Maji. I think everyone knows about Gidi Gidi Maji Maji because of the songs they put out on Bogabo, Latoti. There was the Ototi remix. There was Different Faces. There's a lot of records they put out, and they were always very aggressive on the mic. They were stage performers also. So, of course, they're going to be out there. The other guy that is there and was there in Kenyan music that is still there till today and has come back and drop music is, of course, is Nameless. Now, I always tell people I knew Nameless when Nameless was in campus and he didn't have no dreadlocks on his head then. You know, he's been known as Monsky, you know, and he was actually a rapper. In fact, funny enough, when I hear Nameless at Ogopa, that's when I heard him now singing. Because I remember he used to be with this guy in campus, a guy called Neto. And so Neto used to be the one singing and Nameless used to rap, you know. And I think when the transition in Kenyan music, which we're going to get into, happened, that's when they benefited. And I'll explain to you this. One of the problems that new artists face that has been there for years, that was still faced back in the days that we face in Kenya, is one main thing. This is what we call radio and TV presenters in media. There's this thing called pay to play on radio. So a common practice, they say, by radio presenters is they would ask for money to get your record played. Sometimes you'd even give them money and the record is never played. You know? And a lot of artists that I come into contact with, a lot of times, I listen to their music. They have great music, but you ask yourself, why is it not on radio? Why is it not on the media channels? Because yes, you have social media, but you still need to get your music on radio. You still need to get your music on TV for a mass audience also still to hear, apart from putting your stuff on TikTok and other platforms. And so back in the days, what happened was you could record your music, but it wouldn't get on radio. They were very tough. In fact, the media houses would play, funny enough, more international records than local records. Does it sound familiar? But here at Icon Radio, what we do is we promote everyone. If your record is good, trust us, it's going to be on the air. And we don't ask you for money to play your record on the air. If anyone from Icon Radio comes and asks you for money, yo, tell me, come look for the Beatmaker, because that's not going to happen. We're about equality. We're about positivity. And so we're about promoting artists. And that's even how the station came up. We're about promoting others, whether it's in business, whether it's in music, whether it's in conscious stuff that you're doing out there. That's what we're about. So a lot of artists in Kenya couldn't get their music on radio. It was in fact impossible for them to get music on radio. So here come these guys, Ogopa DJs. They come along. And I remember in the early days, they used to record their vocals. They just make beats and record their vocals. I think it was a place called Hills Media where they used to record. So they had this thing where they would tell artists, like, listen, if you come and record with us, we'll get your music where? On radio. That's what happened. So guess what? That's like a child in a candy shop. It's like you tell me, listen, if you buy this, you get the rest for free. I'm gonna come and look for you. So what happened? All these artists came to Ogopa DJs. You have a list of artists. So you have tracks that you hear like from Isa, Bomba Train, all those tracks you hear, Amani, has put out her records with them. I also worked with Amani early on in her career when she was part of a gospel group called Sobriety. There of course, was Vinnie Banton and Googs, Wase Tumatuka Gedurai. You hear all these gems coming up, one after another, and then it takes over the Kenyan music scene. They're not just putting out music, they're not just recording, but it's getting on radio. So you have to understand there were other rappers that were there before Gopa. And this is where the competition came in Kenya, where people are feeling like, hey, these guys are putting out the records. We're not getting the same amount of time. What are they doing that's making their music get played? And that whole thing is what we've been facing in Kenya for years, you know, where we feel some people are the elite. That's one of the reasons why the record is played. You hear a lot of artists say, yeah, they're on radio, but ngoma zao ziko wak. You hear that all the time. So how do we decide what music is good or not? Then you look at the new artists that are coming up and they're putting out records like every week, because now what happened was they no longer needed record labels. Back in the days, you needed a record label to put out your music. Now you become your own record label and you start putting out your music that people want to hear. But now there's a positivity, like I said before, about social media and a negativity about social media. The positive side is you can become your own entrepreneur. You can decide how things go along. That's what happened. The negative side is the quality reduce. That's why when we listen to records, even Kenyan music from the past, and we listen to artists who were there, from people like, of course, the Uko Flanis, the K Shaka, the Marcy Myras. You know, you listen to all these artists who were there back in the days. You listen to quality and you're like, hold on, why does the quality sound better? It's because I feel that they put in a lot of time. That doesn't mean the artists right now are not putting in the time. But the thing is, there was very little that you could do to really push your record. So you put in a lot of time to make sure that record comes out. You make sure that the quality was very high. But nowadays, listen, I can plug a mic to an app on my phone and record and put it out in a minute. And then that's it, you know? And so the thing is, we've got to understand what has happened to our music industry. Why is it failing also? At the same point, I feel that we allow too many foreigners into our music scene. And those foreigners, by the way, also helped kill our music, because now other people started focusing on their music and they started saying all Kenyan music is whack. You know, we never had an infrastructure that we put up for new artists to break in and really represent for themselves. And so right now, if you look at the music industry, people no longer really buy records. You know, when an artist comes up, the first thing that they do is they record a song and they'll put it on one of the social media handles. You find the music out there. They're promoting themselves out there. But they're really not putting out music to sell music. They're putting out music so a corporate company can find them and they become like these influencers where they're paid for sponsorship and then they make money. Back in the days, it didn't exist like that. So is our Kenyan hip-hop music and our music in general dying in Kenya? Why does it not exist? And why are not that many artists out there from the Kenya hip-hop genre? It's because there's nothing to move to. There's nothing to grow to. There's nothing to expand to. So when you hear people putting out records, it's because they love that music. That's why they're putting out those records. Are they thinking that they're going to make some good money off selling the record? No, I don't think they do believe that. I think what they want to do is look for other avenues to get into business. That's why they're recording music. So K-Shaka had disappeared for a long time. Then, thing is about 2 years ago, you start hearing about them again. And people are like, oh man, they better sit down. Their time is over. So my question to you, who is relevant right now? Do you feel is relevant? Because when you go online, all you hear about is Respect the OG, you hear about Calligraph. Do these old school artists who were there back in the days, do they have a claim to the current music that's going on right now? Are they still relevant? What they're saying when you hear their music, does it impact you? What is great in your view about these new school artists that are coming up? Because I personally feel the new school artists coming up are dope. They have a lot of stuff that they're putting out that I feel like, yo, this is great when I listen to it. But I won't lie to you, I always ask you at the back of my head, I always ask, like, how long will they remain in the industry? How long will they last? And the honest truth is, not artists, most artists, the longevity of their careers right now in 2024 going into 2025 is 3 to 4 years maximum, and they're out. In fact, 4 years is even being kind. By the time they hit 2 years, 3 years, they're like, yo, let me go look for something else. Let me go join a university. Let me do something else. So our art is dying. But the thing I want to get to in the next thing we talk is, how do we improve the industry? How do we make it great? How do we make music? How do we make Kenya great once again? You hear people talking about making things great. We heard Trump saying that he wants to make America great again, which there's a huge argument about that. But how do we make Kenya great once again? Because hip-hop and music was looked up to. Kenya was like the place if you wanted to find anything great. I remember there's a time that Kalamashaka went and did a show. I think it was in Nigeria, and they tore the house down. Like, literally, like, people were going crazy when they heard them. You know, they had never heard about them before, but trust me, they left an image on the stage. Why is it that in Kenya we're becoming curtain-raised artists in our own country? Why isn't the music that we're putting out getting the recognition that we get? So we're going to play some music right now, but the next set, we're going to talk about that. And trust me, these answers are not as complicated as you think. It's all about dedication. And I know Kenya as a people, we're always dedicated. So tune in.
You have in bed, been having them for years, so mine don't fade. They're with me everywhere, so I ain't afraid. So I don't wanna wake up. I feel it's more than life. What I see is more than life. They calling me a dreamer. I don't wanna wake up. I feel it's more than life. What I see is more than life. They call me such a dreamer. I don't wanna wake up. I feel it's more than dreamer. I don't want
dreamer, a dreamer.
Yeah, I have dreams I said. Yeah, they call me a dreamer. I have dreams I said. Yeah, they call me a dreamer.
Eyo, tunajua mkona hiki kuja walai. YGB number 8. Octo PI double Z. Yeah, check it man.
Vibes on the track,
Walidani wakibai Subaru watakuwa wameacha legacy. Octo niko jamadawa nkanmekalia pharmacy. Brain niko full ato jingezi ulizia vacancy. Unataka kuwa kami kama IGB then hang na si. Bado na kunywa cham, zangu ni mahanesi. Kuja na attitude kuingize maira kama si. Tunawemesha, tunawachotua kitokwa na makama si. Mafuta ikiisha, tutapika na makabasi. Kula chungwa na ndizi minta kula na nasi. Niko mbele, wako nyuma kawafuasi. Rizon daily noze, nuwa choma kapasi. So na come so slow, you track iko kasi. Saina make do, mtu wangu niko kazi. Mtanaenda na maziwa juko rap game mini mzazi. Cost ya kila kitu imepanda. Egwenda Mombasa mtu wangu ulize bei ya mnazi. Namba 8 wapi? Namba 8 on top. Octopizo wapi? Octopizo on top. So get that mula, buy that ndula. Say get that mula, buy that ndula. YGB wapi? YGB on top. Octopizo wapi? Octopizo on top. So get that mula, buy that ndula. Say get that mula, buy that ndula. Spit fire, then I let it burn like Asha. Corrupt game na dai cash ka Akasha. First class picnics nipate Naivasha. Kurol na mamodel wa super kakina Natasha. Stembei na wallet, dope wa bahasha. Walijona the storm say now make rasha. Who's smarter now? Si wewe, niko juu yao na wachungulia kama mwewe. Octo, aka itisha upewe. YGB, aka itisha ulewe. Just a minute, tota nimalize kuchana. Na si nywele, ni vijiti. Ka plantation za Kericho. Washati na kabado itabidi nimewashika. Mashati ni wagote, hata kuliko wanati jukikuja ni rap game my own dish kama bato. Octopizo wapi? Octopizo on top. Number 8 wapi? Number 8 on top. So get that mula, buy that mula. Say get that mula, buy that mula. YGB wapi? YGB on top. Octopizo wapi? Octopizo on top. So get that mula, buy that mula. Say get that mula, buy that mula. Kakibera lakini hata nikisota sikopi. Hawana style squeeze yangu ndio ujaribu kukopi cause wana lack originality ka photocopy. Sisikizani na mapaparazzi jumi ni photophobic. Nilikuwa bato mi mazidi kwa madana logic. I'm so straight Octo mini homophobic. Wana die beef na kwa Facebook wako so poki. Rap si joki namba 8 sitoki. Boy kwa na flow moja dangerous ka El Nino. Bongo mini most wanted joka albino. Akili ni nywele linda zako kama korino. Hip hop kwa damu na tumia blood ka wino. Yeni kwa game nazidi ku excel ka chino. Deli na wachenga zile za kironaldino. Kauna umwasana mchongo pia unaweza kunywa ino. Ukinibosana mchongo pia unaweza kutukana ke. Only I double PI mambo. Sainiko on the spot ka radio jambo. Na kunyanyasa hata kuliko madhe wako wa kambo. Na kwa ujejo mtu wangu rap sijaanza kitambo. Nimeanza juzi na tayari niko kwa mitambo. Niko used to the machines mazee ka Rambo. Wananiogopa sikizi wakiniona wanaanzaga kusita ka list ya Okambo. Octopizo wapi? Octopizo on top. Number 8 wapi? Number 8 on top. So get that mula, buy that mula. Say get that mula, buy that mula. YGB wapi? YGB on top. Octopizo wapi? Octopizo on top. So get that mula, buy that mula. Say get that mula, buy that mula.
Ayo Chino, you again?
Mana guzgize toka niko rada. Mlini ya kilo na siati nyama. Ndonyo bado ni mayuto na kaba. Iziri majina guzu watataja. MG zing jina ndiyo buaku. Ukila kumavujing na kulaku. Ukikatiwa kombato na mandunya. Ukinilinki niko rima ina didipsi. Niko chupri na pambosho nina nichwez. Yezi manzezi tiwe nitinge. Tukizidingi kotiko ni kupinge. Rampage na kuzidi kuwa dalo. Hard kama ona deliver to the people. Na mashanku zinyafi kunyambisha. Ukikam na andaration kubwa gishwa. Nina mbegega na tekea nililishe. Magambutu ni lazima ni wafinye.
Pinda kusema, changi na tema. Kila kitu si uduni warena. utalie tukikana shiwarena, utalie tukikana shiwa. Yo, sindo kusema, shangi na tema, kila kitu si uduni warena, utalie tukikana shiwarena, utalie tukikana shiwa. Kari yangu siya kaminda kubrat, sezi gwa isa walo, shata mkuje mtu das, nimenja kuvodo mbekze wamenja kuvodo jazz, wanabuya kakinuka wanainza giza packs. Digi dwanzirezi kujijaza gas na vile kindie kuna shang ni mestash, ukidigi vodo bwek tunazeng ni magwash, wanafurisha magwadu songi wakinyo kuhafu. Utabaki ni kiraun na kikromu, korima nyonyo wako mepitiwa za kichuomu, nariangu meidraman nika ukoso mji ya gweze zabe na kupata ukiuza bomu. Wanatupimia za KVAR na wale tubeba ndogo, tukiwanga charmi utambua mirile, stakina michar na kifa, nilichambua zana beya kiwar. Riambe swako idha inengi ni shuksha, kumswipe tukimochoka nga bukla, kabla nijichape lazima kondiekcha, potmo na meze ya kina ndiecha. Unabanja sana ukinywa kuchwenga, kimirista mwezibishana na kuenga, mtados mbogizima mtarenga, mkijaribu kukana shiwarena. Unabanja sana ukinywa kuchwenga, kimirista mwezibishana na kuenga, mtados mbogizima mtarenga, mkijaribu kukana shiwarena. Sindo kusema, shangi na tema, kila kitu si uduni warena, utalie tukikana shiwarena, utalie tukikana shiwa. Yo, sindo kusema, shangi na tema, kila kitu si uduni warena, utalie tukikana shiwarena, utalie tukikana shiwa.
Ghetto praise mistake swagwi rogam, kunipri wejidalo mara utat, kujina wosi kuna wewe ni hudat, banja baga ni madua moko tolo, ina million kwa kweng chaji se kama chetu kicheng kwa igrong si making atuzip kuwa sip tukisip NC noti dread si mabingi wako kinki, frenemy na wabon kawarena, si wazinga tugwa isi mapikni, ukunje wanangamni wareng, wananja kungumi wegze kasi vyedu futo na dilaksi, wanaflasha glazetu zikijipa, magwanderi si ubozi warianyu, zawadi sezi fika kwa wakadu, kuna shang na tegea toka dansu, utaria umakidiza isradu, nikiromboza chini kopu digidoki, kwa bonje siku zao ziko shomui, limila mgenje uliza topi, MG kila kitu wanakopi, weekendi kurombos na maokli, roza ufucha zinadai mopping, letofala utaparara na masoki.
Yeah. Utalie tukikana shiwarena, wana hate ndo kamati ya Kenya, inakonge uswengin medhoboda reason pitu zimekala sizo famasi za tena, omoro mwagi niko dhamaki na tema, kujiangwete sembe samaki omena, mezo za sling chini mambati warena, na nimejipin kona kathati kwa chemba, macho drozi kawa chinku wa bente, mangwariti kwa mbosho nikaza 10k, koma weng mini zing nite sensei, beng akidai uba ita senge, hadi teacher toka Gaza matopeni, na ama nigo na jijaza wachocheni, na kama diva mnabanja joko meni, utaririma ndawalaza wengo jeni, ukinitusi sita bonda just another diss, blood clot si wachoma kama cannabis, kana this uwane venye minda kukanga beef, rich boy siku gani utasare uwaganis, kauna forme Nairobi bosi hama, old school bogi nita boziana, hobi noti kuchota mangogo totiana, kwa rudis choki nikan megoroki ndo kwa mana, mtambogi uniabudu kata jiri flan, na nucheza game bubu kasirikal, na tunaleta vurugu sisiri man, smadi OG guzu na militan.
Sindo kusema, shangi na tema, kila kitu si uduni warena, utalie tukikana shiwarena, utalie tukikana shiwa. Yo, sindo kusema, shangi na tema, kila kitu si uduni warena, utalie tukikana shiwarena, utalie tukikana shiwa.
Your number one entertainment plug, Icon Radio.
Hey, Mike Tyson here speaking with the Cannabis Man over here. Yo, Cannabis, your main objective out here is to do nothing but eat seeds for lunch, breakfast. Hey, man, they've been playing me all my life, man. You know, I won the title a couple of times, did right, but they can't hurt us, man. We're gonna do it. Get up in this ring, man, put on these gloves. Let me show you how to handle
You I'ma let
yourself,
the world know the truth. You don't want me to shine, you study my rhyme, then you laser vocals at the mind, that's a move. Something that a homo rapper would do. So when you say that you platinum, you only dropping clues. I studied your background, read the book that you wrote, researched your footnotes about how you used to sniff coke, fronting like a drug-free role model. You disgust me, I know to see you smoke weed recently. You walk around showing off your body cause it sells, plus to avoid the fact that you ain't got scales. Mad at me cause I kick that well. feel. 199% of your fans wear high heels. From Ice-T to Kumo D to Jay-Z. Now you wanna with me? You must be crazy. You dripping with whack juice and you can't get it off. You better be prepared to finish what you start.
You just hold it right there. We got a legal road for all the fighters. If I see one more of those, you're out of here, fella. You understand? Be the squatter. Stop being a we came to see a fight.
Yo, Cannabis, man, you gotta hit harder than that, man. You don't want no hanging out with me, man. We're warriors, man. When we go into battle, we come out, or don't come out at all.
Yo, you better give me the respect that I deserve, or I'ma take it by force. Blast it with a 45 cord. Make you somersault. Shock you with a couple 100,000 ball thunderbolts. Before you wanted the war, now you wanna talk. It's about who strikes the hardest, not who strikes first. That's why I laugh when I hear that whack verse. That was the worst rhyme I ever heard in my life. Cause the greatest rapper of all time died on March 9th. God bless his soul, rest in peace, kid. It's because of him, now at least I know what beef is. It's not what I would call this. See, this is something different. A faggot trying to make a living over dissing. Somebody that he gotta know is better than him. But he feeling himself cause he got more cheddar than him. Well, let me tell you something. You might got more cash than me, but you ain't got the skills to eat like me. And if you really wanna show off, we could get it on live in front of the cameras on your own sitcom. I let you kick the first, I let you kick them all. I'd even wait for the studio audience to applaud. Now watch me rip the tap from your arm, kick you in the groin, stick you for your Vanguard award in front of your mom, your first, second, and third born. Make your wife get on the horn, call Minister Farrakhan, so he can persuade me to squash it. I say nah, he started it. He forgot what a hardcore artist is. A hardcore artist is a dangerous man, such as myself, trained to run 20 miles in soft sand, on or off land, programmed to kick hundreds of bars off land from a lost and forgotten land. You done did it, man. You done spitted some whack and probably thought that because it's been a minute I forget it. That, cause like Common and Cube, I see the in you, and I'ma make the world see it too.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new lyrical weight champion by second round knockout, 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Can I
Yo, Cannabis, man, you moving like my Tiger Kenya, man. You're in and out and you're agile with your flow, man. But dig, right? You got me, man. That's your name, Cannabis. Your whole agenda's to eat these, man. They have no business to be on the same stage with you, holding a mic with you. But dig, right? But dig, right? But dig, right? But dig, right? Hey, Mike Tyson here speaking with the Cannabis man over here. Yo, Cannabis, your main objective out here is to do nothing but eat them seeds for lunch, breakfast, dinner.
Babi, hajui mini nani, ni buti alipata na ish mavibare. Si story na kirende na si story na vipaji na mi stakusare na act kisara kasi. Njaro za kipanke monitafal, Pantera akisikia mazebeste karada. Nshatanuliwa kivako unanisaka, na kidaga jiusha tu parada. Mini gangsta njaro isiku enjoy, mbona kama shore we act kama boy. Vako yako epandisi haipandisi njaro yako epandisi kirende yako epandisi bebe bamawe mini kofile niko, ushamesa miniga ushawasha chiko. Yani nare, yani G flani ashapitiwa na gare. Vuka hii upande side ya Westi, vitisho ni utani side ya Westi, kwa maboy wa visanga. Mtashangaa amadasha kwa vibanda, mtashangaa. Sheki msani flani ameleta nare, na msalaba na misumari. Sheki msani flani ameleta nare, na msalaba na misumari.
Nimewaka ji kiraka sani mafuaka bado pia ninataka nipe kadhaa saa 9 nigedha madasha zinawaka walhamdulillah nikantai shauri usifilsha mambo ni kuchemka nami nina feel high nimekam kwenye track kuchafua pabilina katai ya kianani motambua cheki mvua inanyesha dub cheki thugs na mahanis wakibomb in the club jisheki we umengara kakiwe umewakilisha umeshika gaji we mina dunda mtu akanigusa mtu amekutwa mtu amekufa
Jua mi na the West ni maumbwa, vichwa mbaya, ukuta tumeruka. Una buda, ji hauna. Utarusha, ji hauta. Coalition ni manotstars takupata, hadi mwili yako ni kami kuzabasha. Msanii flani ameleta nare, na msalaba na misumari. 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 Physically in the zone, mentally I'm gone, homie. I just like sickening flows. Probably tell these people what I'm talking about. When a glove in the scene is a sugary bout, sonny, it's not even funny to me that at the end of the night I'm returning your teeth bloody. Children, come to me so I can teach you the skills of becoming a G.
Cause it's 2025, smoke session getting high. Wicked flows popping up, evil instincts in my mind. I'm thinking, music is my hustle and you hating on me. Yet you lazing around the hood snitching on me. I ain't gon' sell out though, you don't know me. Better sit your butt down and get up on it. Get up on it, get up on it. Pavelina can die.
The baddest femme seeing too far forward, poppin'. Ayy. Kibare kwa mdomo pa, sponge kamfuko iko zero wa. Niko single uko hooked and cuffed, busy meshika uko gikomba. Na snitch ni observer, chungu sivunjike shingo ukipip and turn. Ukisneeze una cover, lupus ni blunder, plus unalipa tax. Wanna take notes, kama landi nimewacha notice. Wanna take notes, kama landi nimewacha notice. Notice, notice, little bit too many notice. Notice, notice, little bit too many notice. One eye on the look, mosho moja kama aerial. Flights ngapi umebook? Tunafocus na kibetiko heavy load. Tunazenda mbali ukimute. Back account ukismile uko cute. I'm around ukismelly perfume. Si lucky baraka na view. Side mirror ni bima na cheki. Plan siku feel ni ku make it. Ampete kuhusu ni seti. Gossip ni follow na wivu tadedi. Notice, notice. Little bit too many notice. Notice, notice. Little bit too many notice. Wanna take notes. Kama landi nimewacha notice. Wanna take notes. Kama landi nimewacha notice. Notice, notice. Little bit too many notice. Notice, notice. Little bit too many notice.
Those scams so boss, you have to know this. Those scams so costly, siko comfy. Nikiingia stoki, and I can't stop it. Nikivia jikoni, niko like fuck it. Kasi nikimoshi, ni sabuni ya lodging. Uja notice, sijui tita telling. I'm not joking, jeshi sijui totally. Jogi, nobody can bogo me. Let me blow things out of proportion. Na kuanga mchafu zaidi mekwa drogon. Wengi unimez kama Mr. Dongo. Na kuanga mongo lakini vibes udonjo. Yo, don't nikidonjo ni notice. Unadhani kiongo kumbe kiongozi. Nikidonjo ni notice. Unadhani kiongo kumbe kiongozi.
Wanna take notes. Kama landi nimewacha notice. Wanna take notes. kama landi nimewacha notice. Notice, notice, litabidi umeni notice. Notice, notice, litabidi umeni notice.
We're back. I remember that track. They used to go, "Welcome back." Yeah, we're back. We're back here on Icon Radio. The Vault representing hip hop all the way from Kenya to the world. Not from the world to Kenya, from Kenya to the world. Trust me. So some of the tracks that we were playing, oh man, like these are like, hey, when you hear them, it just puts shivers in me. There was STL, Dreamer. A lot of guys have been asking what happened to STL. STL's around. I'm sure she's still doing her thing. She's been on different tracks with different people, so that's great, you know? Then there was Octopizzo, On Top, you know? Hey, I still remember that time there was this big beef, Octopizzo, Calligraph. That went on for like a long time. Well, maybe they sorted it out now, I don't know. Then there was Bogigenje featuring Calligraph, Jones, Warena, you know? I always say that Boogie, it's good they did a track with Kali because they have something fresh that they brought to the industry. They have something fresh they brought to the market. And of course, Kali has his own sound also that he's brought to the market that makes him stand out. So, you know, that's what we classify as Kenyan hip-hop. Then we played Cannabis, second round knockout. I'll get into that later on, but yo, that record, hey, it was lethal, you know? Of course, he was having that beef with LL Cool J, and not initiated by him, but, you know, there's an argument actually who won that battle, you know? Then we played, of course, Pavali, featuring Kantai Nare. I always feel it's a shame what happened to Kantai. You know, he was definitely, we rate him here, and even at Icon Radio, we rate him as one of the greats. You know, unfortunately, you know, like we say, people leave early, and it's unfortunate, you know, what happened. But you know what? We pray that, you know, all is well with the people that he left behind, you know. Then, you know, as we always want to represent the newbies, yeah, who are putting out music, who are representing their view on music. So we played Shazzy B, you know, and I'll say one thing. Shazzy B, one thing, like shout out to you, Shazzy B. You know, I love the way you put in the time, you're putting in the effort, you're growing along the way. I remember there was a time when Shazzy B, we would talk on the phone. I tell her, no, I feel you need to do it better like this, you could do better. And you just get into an argument. She's like, no, I feel like you're not hearing me about. So when I see Shazzy B right now making the rounds, putting in the time, representing, that's all that I ever wanted to see of her. And I'm glad to see that she's representing for Kenyan hip hop, but she's also representing for the females that are out there doing their thing. You know, so we're always glad for the people who are watching The Vault, listening to The Vault online and everything. You could check us out on Icon Radio, The Vault, online on YouTube, even on our site also. So there was a comment that was made by Louis Kiru. It says, don't you think Issa's death elevated his legacy? And no doubt, I feel that Issa's legacy was elevated because he left the earth early. And the question is, if he was here right now, in this world right now, where would he be? The honest truth is we don't know. That's the honest truth. But when people leave the earth early, you know, there's a lot of talk about them. There's a lot of praise for them. People play the old music, but that doesn't mean that their music will continue being the best at what it is. We still have artists in Kenya who were great back in the days and who are still on this earth. And you wonder what happened to them. Why are they not putting out music? What's going on with them? And sometimes people just take a break because they have other things they need to focus on. You know, they say music is a young man's game, you know, which is true. Like the older you get, you can't be so much on the emphasis of music and like how when you were young, you know. And I feel that Issa put in his time. He put in what he knew how to do, and he went about it the best way he could go about it. And when I generally met Issa had just finished high school. He went to Brookhouse, you know, and I was linked to him through someone, and they said, "Hey, can you work with Issa?" And so when I first met him, it was me, him, and his mom, and got into the studio with him through a boy of mine who had a studio called Richard Kasika, and worked on like about 2 or 3 records with him. And I remember that time I could see he was very determined, and his thing was he had to succeed. There was no doubt about it. So it's interesting the way he picked up very fast, and it's not interesting that way. It's because he put in the time that he succeeded. But there are a lot of guys still, if we have to talk about it, who felt that he wasn't the greatest MC there. You know, they felt like, oh yeah, he just looks like a posh kid. That's why people are paying them. You know, in Kenya, we have a lot of people who have other views about music, and they're like, nah. Like, for example, there's always been this argument that hip-hop belongs to the Eastlands. If you didn't come from the Eastlands, you know, you didn't come from Isli, you didn't come from Dandora, you didn't come from Huruma, you didn't come from certain areas, that there's nothing that you can tell them about hip-hop, you know. But I just think that when you look at people like Kalamashaka, when you look at the Ugoflanis and other new artists that are coming up right now from those areas, you look at guys like Bogi Genje and other guys who are putting their music out there. I just think that their music is their stories. There's nothing that will make them succeed that cannot make you succeed. It's how you put in the time, how you put out your music out there that people can relate to. Because music is all about people relating to you. That's what it is in a nutshell. There's nothing more to it, nothing less to it. It's just that simple, you know? So there's been some good comments out here on our page on Icon Radio. People are saying the music, Linda B, I see you. You're saying the music is fire, real hip-hop. Oh yeah, we ain't playing around. We're playing real hip-hop, and we're playing Kenyan hip-hop. If you're hip-hop, we're here for you. That's how we represent all day, every day. Hip-hop all the way, KE. That's how we're putting it down it. I see someone else has said, they heard the locks. The music just makes you feel like going to war. Some serious raw energy. I remember the locks. The locks were interesting how they put their music together. When you heard the locks, you're just like, yeah, you know, you start to bop your head. And I remember during this time of COVID, a lot of artists, you know, didn't know what to do because they were not really recording music or doing anything. So Timberland and Swiss Beats came up with verses, you know. And so they bring all these artists, they bring them together, and they each perform like their catalog, you know, and people be like, oh, this is hot. The public will decide what is hot, what is not, you know. And I think there's one I saw of Eve and Trina, you know. There were different artists that came up. I know in Kenya, people in Kenya were trying to think of doing that also, but I don't know what happened. I don't know if it ever came to light. But the thing that made Kenyan hip-hop thrive for so many years is competition. We love competition, you know. In Kenya, we love competition. So one person's doing this, we'll be like, yeah, I'll see you on the next leg. I'm going to make mine harder, you know. But also, the thing that we love is competition, but the thing that's made us not thrive so much is that we need to understand more how to do collaborations. And when I talk about collaborations, you know, like people look at when they look at collaborations, they don't look at like how we can come together. They look at you're my competition, even if they do jump on a collaboration. And for a collaboration to be great, is you come with what you have, I come with what I have, we put it out there and make it work. So I feel Kenya, we have the hip hop music that is there, but a lot of it is from the past. So we need the new school guys who are coming out to really step up and put out their music so we can have a listen to it. And the thing is, we also want to become your fans, the new school artists. So give us your music. Let us promote it for you. Let us talk about it. Give us a chance to hear what you're talking about, because everyone has a different journey. My journey started many years ago. And I remember I'm also one of the founders of Mosound Entertainment. Actually, Mosound was not called Mosound in the beginning. It was called End Zone Entertainment. Then we changed it to Mosound later on, because one of the individuals there, Kevin Moulet, was like, hey, he really wanted us to put that Mosound thing in, you know, so we put it in. But I remember I was away for many years. I was abroad, then I came back, and then I got a call. I got a call that my former group, Rap Community, was nominated for a Lifetime Achievement Award and on how we improved music in Kenya. Now, you have to understand, when we started out like the normal Kenyan artists, where hip-hop wasn't great at that time. It wasn't big. It was kind of like you were an outcast, if we put it like that. So it's like we just believed in ourselves and we kept on moving forward. So when I'm hearing that we're receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award at Groove Awards, they called me the night before. And there's a problem now with some of these Kenyan awards. Like, they didn't even call me like 5 days or a week before. They called me a day before, you know? So, of course, I picked up the phone. And I remember the guy who called me. I don't remember his name, but I remember what he told me. He's like, oh, we hear that you guys have been in the industry. You were even there before Kalamashaka. You're the real OGs. I think he thought that by telling me that, like, it's a marketing point and I'll come for the awards quicker. Like, yeah, we were there before them, so give us our props. No, I was just like, listen, I can't make it. I was like, are you serious? Calling me a day before? So I was just like, I'm not going to show up. And that was that. Next thing, who calls me? Kevin Moulet. He's like, please, can you please come for this? We want to give you guys a Lifetime Achievement Award. So at that time, I was like, you know what? The person who was next to me said, you know, what are you doing? Just go for it. So I decided to go. It was at Kasarani Stadium. And so there was me, who was there. There was a late Big Kev Ombajo, who was part of Rap Community. There was Big Ted, who was also there, was part of Rap Community. There was Linda LC. And then there was John Gugu, used to call him back in the days Kejamarima. Some of the other members were not around. Sarkut Wagana, guys in Kenya know him for the song Manyake. He couldn't show up. He said he had to spend time with, he's promised to take his kids for a movie, so he couldn't show up. And I remember we got our Lifetime Achievement Award. But this is an interesting thing, because we came from such a long time of Kenyan hip-hop. A lot of guys, they should have showed small documentary about us before we received our award. A lot of people didn't know who the heck we were. You know, if you were there in that time, you knew who we were. But for the new school artists who are coming up or receiving their awards and were there at that of the awards, they didn't know who we were. And in a nutshell, that's how I describe our Kenyan music right now. You know, a lot of the new artists who are coming up is like how we were back in the days. These artists, people don't know about them. We need to fight for our artists. We need to fight to promote them. We need to fight to put out good music. Because anytime you mention music from Africa, right now, there's only two genres that are mentioned, and I'm sure the listeners know them. That's Afro beats and Amapiano. You know? Now in South Africa, they have a lot of hip-hoppers, but you don't hear about them a lot of times, but they're there. You know? In Kenya, I feel that in Kenya, probably we have the most, if it comes out of East Africa, we have the most hip-hoppers. If you go to Uganda, there's almost no rappers in Uganda. You know, I think the last few hip-hoppers that I probably saw there was like The Myth and Navio, you know. They were really known to other countries, you know. Then there's a few others who have come up, but you don't really know about them. They're doing their thing, but it's a very small percentage. And so I feel that at the end of the day, I'll keep on saying this. We're going to keep on playing Kenyan music on the Vault. We'll keep on promoting what Kenyans do, because what we do is important. for the world to hear. We have our own stories that are very different from Tanzania. We have our stories that are very different from America, you know? And we need to take our own people that are coming up, the young artists are coming up. So if you're out there and you want a place for people to hear your music, to come do interviews, come on The Vault. Because we're out here to promote you. We're out here to say, hey, we're listening to you. We're out here to put out your music and showcase what you can do, you know? So today, just want to take you through about Kenyan hip-hop and how we can make hip-hop great in Kenya. But the number one lesson we've got to do is we've got to promote our own. We've got to stop playing this game of that we're spending so much time promoting other people and what they do. Now, that music out there, that being said, is great. The other nations are doing. But you know what? There's only one Kenya. There is only one. And guess what? We have like 44 tribes. You know, we have different kinds of people. A lot of times, even with hip-hop, we only focus on the hip-hop from Nairobi. But if you go to Nakuru, you know, you hear dope rappers, like awesome rappers that like they need to be showcased, you know. You go there, you hear about Romy Swahili, you hear about Vera Mkaliwao, you know. Vera Mkaliwao just dropped her new album, which is amazing, you know. Like there's people out there that are representing, you know. At the end of the day, let's go back to promoting our own. Because if I'm going to be honest, K-Shaka won't be here forever. These old school guys who are there in the scene won't be there forever. The new school guys who are here right now, their time will also end and other people will come in. But the thing is, how are we going to build the legacy of artists that are coming up? Yeah, because Ogopa DJs came and left. Caliph Records came and left. There's a lot of record labels that came and they're no longer there right now. They don't exist right now. But you know what? They left the music behind. The music is the one that survives, not even these labels. The music is what people remember. And for that, we've got to make our sound great. We've got to make our country great. But at the rate we're going, where young artists feel like they're in competition with the older artists feel they're in competition with the younger artists, where are we going? So let's elevate each other. That's the only way Kenyan music will be great, you know? And to those government people out there who are listening to the show, the politicians, artists are not just there to perform in your harambes, you know, or in specific church fundraising functions. No, there's more to an artist than that, you know? And so let's elevate our own. Let's create our own. And we won't get into that today. Next time we talk, we're talking about these music societies that are out there, the publishing companies that have done injustice to artists, like a major injustice, just making their pockets richer while these artists suffer. That is why a lot of these artists have even given up on music, because they feel like, why am I doing music anymore? It's not making for me anything. And you know, the worst thing is to go back home and your family members, your family saying, umekama nini leo? So unafanya mziki. And then you have nothing to show for it. You know, that's why a lot of these artists gave up. You heard the likes of people like Mustafa, like these guys like going doom Django, you know, because they need to take care of things. He need to take care of his mom. He need sort of other things in his own personal life. And people are like, wasn't this guy great at one time? What happened? That will always be the question. But if we elevate each other, there will no longer be that question about what happened. The new thing that will be said is what can happen, what has come, you know. So I'm grateful for all the people who tune into us all the time. The Vault is back, definitely on Icon Radio. Hip-hop is here all the way. We're always going to represent 90 to 100% of Kenyan hip-hop. So for the hip-hop lovers out there, this is the end of the show today. But just remember that hip-hop ni culture ya love. Usisahau, you know. And that's how we're going to represent every day. You're the Beatmaker, living it large, living my stories, telling you what's up. Tune in next week and more jams on the way. Bless out.
Tukiwa na Mr. Moja nikitisiwa, unajua vile kwa uenda vile aufanya hapa, tukokuwa tapia pia tuwachantia kiasi. Yeah. Kama kulikuwa na safety belt, basi kulikuwa na tenda ya mishipi. Ukiona blackout, kuna tenda ya majenereta. Wameipeleka too far, wameenda hadi story agenda, hadi rights za mende. Ati wase wanaipenda kaile channel ya South Africa. Wameitwanga na panel beating media yenyewe ikaifanel wakaikunywa, na kaili wanyonga pia wataisiaga na washoni afya. Yeah, ni mamafia jo, propaganda imeganda proper. Publicity za TV ndio upenda kudisiana kwa matanga na kwa church, kukisiana kwenye curtain, kubagain nani atafikia bei, kufichiana white ndio zao. Kura yako ni kadi, ballot box ATM yao. Oh my goodness, hadi doza shule jo mzee, na education ndio key, tunafaa tukafunge. Na mbunge amekuja cheap ati kutubaia steam tuvuruge. Hapo ndo mimi ujiuliza jo, hii siasa utusaidia ngaje saa zingine?
Siasa panganga kelele za soko, yadili mtatu koroga ubongo. Tumechoka, tumesota na bado. Siasa panganga kelele za soko, yadili mtatu koroga ubongo. Tumechoka, tumesota na bado.
Wanauliza kwani wangatulan bado tunachota mafuta? Hamwezi understand, jua mjai kuwa kwa shanties, hamjai toka job jioni bila eni kwa pori. Familia inakungoja uweke kitu kwa meza. It all rotates around poverty, kitu political class imeignore. Ndio siwezi respect hata siku moja. Angalia kwa mtaa, mob imekuwa ndio the only way ya kuget justice. Karada juu kila bullet wana spray wangani stray. Words mob za ma politician, intentions zao kutulead astray. Selfish intentions, anti-constitution iliwatake ages ku-implement. Watu kubehave nikaa wametuparada. Kila kona ya inchi brutal murder. Ukicheki news, story kaza waga la masaka utadhani horror movie. Saka macho, juka si mhalifu then ni karao. Washa make wizi profession, angalia country disiolo. Justice ilidedi wana run free after kutumake landless molo. Inanibidi kuishi nao na ujanja, anytime anaweza nitolea twao. Community policing ni kwa redio, ilitubidi kutreat hii jeshi kama hero wa mtaa. Pass info kwe their next target. Mambo gani hii? Naona hunger stricken Kenyans wakilanguish in poverty. Na watch news, pain mingi kwa roho, tears kwa face, innocent kids kulemewa na race. Same people walimwaga milk kwa trench, wakauza maize to starve. Ni politics number 1 kwa list, hawana initiative ya kupunguza njaa. Wakenya itabidi tuchangamke juu hama buda wamelala. Angalia kwa bunge, overeating imefanya wamelala, wameinama utadhani wanasema sala.
Siasa panganga